Let's begin by your telling us a bit about your professional background, and also tell us about the San Joaquin Regional Transit District.
A little bit about me. I actually started my career in public transit as a part-time bus operator at Sacramento Regional Transit. We know them as RT. I never planned to get into transit. I was actually teaching elementary school, which is the career I chose so I could be close to my 6 children. After a difficult divorce and finding myself as a newly single mom with all those children to feed, I needed to earn some extra income, so I started driving a bus part-time for SAC RT, and I also started delivering packages part-time at UPS. Very shortly after that, SAC RT was putting together their first light rail project, and they posted openings to be on the light rail startup team. It was really on a whim that I applied and was selected to be part of it. It was a great experience. I was there when we were testing our new light rail vehicles, installing tracks, overhead signaling systems. It was a very exciting way to step into transit. I stayed at the light rail division at SAC RT for 6 years and then moved around a bit at that same agency. I worked in operations support, contract administration, engineering and construction, and facilities management. And my last job there was actually overseeing all the light rail facilities. A little bit over 10 years into my time at RT in Sacramento, I was selected as a member of the second Leadership APTA class. I've got to tell you that that program for me was life-changing professionally. After 14 years at SAC RT, I heard about an opening for an assistant general manager position at a bus agency in the very next county, San Joaquin. I thought it might be nice to round out my experience a bit, and I actually applied for and was selected for that position as assistant general manager at San Joaquin RTD. Boy, was it different being here. Very different operations, different facilities, definitely different politics, and we had some challenges to face. My friends at SAC RT actually told me I was making a terrible mistake to come down here, but I felt pretty comfortable and confident. The board had told my predecessor, Jerry Hughes, to hire an assistant general manager because RTD was having some serious challenges with local politics and personnel and union matters, but I felt confident because I was just the assistant general manager, not the GM, so the buck wasn't going to stop with me. I was eager to roll up my sleeves and help, and I believed I could learn from my new boss. And really, honestly, I was really quite comfortable in the number 2 spot, had no ambition to be in the number 1 spot. But this is an interesting part of the story here. Very sadly, in my 9th month on the job, 1 week to the day after September 11th, 2001, my boss, the CEO who's been here for 11 years, suffered from an aneurysm and died. And so the board appointed me acting immediately in an emergency board meeting. I still wasn't sure I wanted to stay, but after a couple months in the acting position, I thought, I think maybe I can do this. So I never intended to be here 17 years, but now I've been here 17 years, and I've had some amazing opportunities. Through my time at SAC RT and San Joaquin RTD, I built on my education. I already have an undergraduate degree in education. I completed a master's program through the Mineta Institute, so I have a Master of Science in Transportation Management, and I also went over to UC Davis and took a program in Construction Management. San Joaquin RTD as an agency is a bus-only agency. We serve a very large, very diverse geography. We have over 1,400 square miles, and a lot of that is rural farmland. We have multiple cities within the county. Stockton is the largest. And, of course, Stockton is well known for crime and bankruptcy and foreclosure. So we've had our share of challenges here in the community. But we've tried to take those challenges and build on the challenges and hopefully have accomplished some level of success. We've been able to redo all of our facilities. We have remade our fleet from some old diesel buses that we couldn't even buy parts for anymore. We now have all hybrid and electric vehicles, and just a lot of opportunities here. So it's been fun, as I said, to roll up my sleeves, and I've got a great team. Nothing's ever done by one person. I've got a great team of people who work with us here in the organization and a great board. The board has always been very good at supporting what we do They're very engaged. Every board member reads their board packet and they understand what goes on. They're very involved in annual strategic planning and programming and budget development. So it's been a great ride here.
Great. So what is the ridership? I don't think you mentioned that. What?
So our ridership has always hovered a little bit above 4 million rides. By way of size and the number of vehicles, we qualify as a medium-sized system, but because we serve such a large geographic area, our ridership is phenomenal for us, but with the decline in ridership recently, our ridership has just fallen to a little bit below 4 million. We're introducing a lot of new programs that we believe are going to help push that ridership back up.
Good. Well, thank you, Donna. What a fascinating background. You've sort of done it all, as they say. Now, I know you take very seriously your role as what you and I have called in our discussions the Chief Innovation Officer of RTD. How would you describe that role in a nutshell? What does it mean to be Chief Innovation Officer of RTD?
That's a great question, Doug. Thank you. We hear a lot about innovation recently, and especially about agencies hiring innovation officers. I didn't really understand this fully before I arrived at RTD, but in my opinion, vision and innovation are really essential components for a successful CEO. I believe the CEO needs to create the vision for the future. It needs to be more than just saying we need to do this or build that. It needs to be very specific, whether we want to build a new facility or create a new service, for example. I think the CEO needs to be able to paint the picture so clearly that the entire team gets excited and can imagine it as well. Being a good Chief Innovative Officer, I also think, means being good at handling the comments that are going to come your way. The comments like, well, we can't do that, or you can't do that, or this is not the way we do things, or we've always done it this way. Our communities are evolving, our residents' needs are changing, and we have to change too. We have to be looking to see what the future of transit looks like, and then we need to be the innovators and the visionaries who lead our agencies in that direction.
So, give us an example of an innovation initiative that's been launched on your watch as Chief Innovation Officer.
There are several I could mention, but one that I would like to share is our Regional Transportation Center. We recently opened that, and there are many components of that that we use innovation with.
So would you tell us a bit about the center?
Absolutely. We had just built our downtown transit center, which is located in downtown Stockton, and that was built for our customers, 20 bus bays and a public area, police substation. But we were still operating out of an operations and maintenance building that was 40 years old. Our operations and maintenance facility was built for 50 buses, and we were operating 160 buses out of it. Not only that, we were fueling 160 vehicles with one diesel fuel pump. We were parking our buses in a lot. It looked like a Jenga puzzle. We actually had more buses, more accidents with our buses in the lot than on the street. So I knew we needed to do something different. We had just built the downtown transit center, but I knew we couldn't just rest on our laurels. We really needed to do something about building a regional operations center as well. So I started talking it up, and I think I scared our chief financial officer and even the board a little bit when I first started talking about it, because there was no money, and we didn't have any property, and we didn't really have a plan, but I knew that we needed to move forward. So I actually started visiting some other properties with some of my staff members just to get some ideas about what a great facility would look like. I knew we would have to make it bigger than what we had, far bigger, not just for the 160 buses we were operating at the time, but big enough to expand. So we were looking at facilities built for about 250 buses. And we actually visited Orange County Transit Authority, their brand new Santa Ana base, in 2008. And as I looked around, I thought, wow, this facility is kind of perfect. They got it right. They knew what they were doing. They hit all the, all the points that needed to be covered. And so I started thinking, well, why should we design our own facility? Why should we start from scratch? Why can't we just use the Orange County plans and see if we can't build that on our property? And that was innovative because as far as I know, nobody else has ever done it. So I started working with staff at Orange County Transit Authority and then reached out to the board. It was, to the CEO at the time was Art Leahy. And I said, hey, what do you think? And they said, well, we've looked at the plans and we do own them, so I guess it's possible. Why don't you come down and visit and let's talk about it? So I went down to visit, and I got off the plane, and they said, okay, you're going to meet with the board. I wasn't prepared for that. But when I went into the board, I said, well, you've probably heard the old expression, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, so I'm here to flatter you today. You've built an amazing facility, and we would love just to copy it. And, of course, they were very flattered, and they said, wow, what a great idea. If we can legally do it, sure, why wouldn't we do that? And so it was an innovative approach, and I actually had to go meet with FTA Region 9 because they said, well, no one's ever done it before. And, how are you going to do it? You have different zoning conditions, different rules, regulations, different site conditions. And I said, I know that we are going to have to make modifications. It's not like we can just take their design and use it here, but we can use their design as a basis and then modify it to our site. And I said, I believe we can save a lot of money by doing this, and we're going to get a sure thing. We know what the product is that we're going to get. So with the FTA, they were a little resistant at first, and then, as I said, they were resistant, and I just kept firing back, and I said,
why were they resistant, Donna?
I think they were resistant because nobody had ever done it before. And that's what they said, well, nobody's ever done this before. And I said, Starbucks and In-N-Out and other large corporations use one design and use it over and over and over in different cities. Why can't we? Why is it that transit agencies have to pay to start from scratch for design on each and every facility that's built? And it was actually the FTA attorney who said, well, wait, that's FTA paying over and over for the design. And I said, exactly. So they said we could move forward, and we did. And we discovered many things along the path. One thing is I won't go into all the details, but we were able to, I believe, accurately estimate that we saved about $1 million in design costs. But
Whoa.
some of the other, I know, $1 million.
$1 million? That's
yes.
Quite an achievement.
And that paid for a lot of the indoor equipment that we were able to purchase. And it is just a beautiful state-of-the-art facility. It is modeled after Orange County. But there are some other things that we discovered along the way that were very helpful. For one thing, because OCTA is close enough, we were able to send our employees, board members, union officials, procurement folks right down to OCTA and visit. So they could actually walk through the building. They got to talk to the OCTA employees who were already there. And many of the OCTA people said, oh, if we had to do it again, we would make this modification or this modification. And so we were able to capitalize on their experiences. And then when we sent the maintenance team down to walk through the building, here's one example I love to use. The maintenance folks said, well, we love this building, but the parts window faces into the hallway, and we think if the parts window faced into the shop, it would be a lot more convenient. And we were able to make that modification easily. I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but one of my jobs at SAC RT was in engineering and construction. And I remember when we used to do projects, we'd get this big old stack of documents, and we'd be asked to review and comment on those documents. Well, we're all so busy, it's hard to go through a stack of, sheets of paper and actually envision what the project's going to look like. But because we could visit Orange County Transit Authority's base, we were able to walk through it, and it was wonderful because it was very easy to get comments back. And so our procurement people had some recommendations. Our maintenance folks, as I said, they had some recommendations. and we were actually able to make Orange County Transit Authority's facility even a little bit maybe better, or at least better for us.
Well, certainly you tailored it to your own
Yes.
very unique needs and situation. So, Donna, let's look at the bottom line. I assume that the regional transportation centers paid off for RTD, but tell me how. What's been your return on investment from this new center?
Well, Doug, if I can take a little liberty here, I do want to answer that question, but I also want to give a lot of kudos to the board at this point, because I told you we started this project and we had no money, no property, and no design. So once we got the vision of the OCTA property or facility as our basic design, the board had to support our efforts in acquiring money to buy property and to build this facility. So we started this in 2008, and by 2017, we were in this brand new facility. We purchased the property, we paid for the design, and we paid for the facility, and it was all done through grants and other funding sources. We did not have to incur any long-term debt to make this happen. So, and it was because the board was visionary. It was because they were willing to step out. They trusted my instincts. I trusted theirs. I also want to let you know that I had two board members in particular who were very helpful. Gary Giovanetti has a degree in architecture, and Balwinder Singh is an engineer. So they worked closely. They were the facilities subcommittee of the board, and they worked closely with us as we went through the design and construction of this project. But then to get to the question of the return on investment, we built a building that, of course, is much newer, much larger. It definitely makes for more efficient operations. We live in an area where we have to worry about clean air. We are in a severe non-attainment area. Our new building has has a lot of environmental elements. One of the elements I'd like to mention is that our bus wash reclaims 97% of the water it uses, but we've been able to put environmental elements into our landscaping and our utilities and other aspects of the facility. So some of the returns are, of course, the cost savings of over $1 million in the design cost, more efficient operations. In addition, this new facility is located right in the center of our service area, immediately adjacent to a crosstown freeway that connects the I-5 and the 99. And so we have definitely reduced deadhead miles because of our access to getting the buses out into the service area. Some more returns on investment are we have a very, part of our strategic planning is that we want to be obsessed with safety and with wellness. And we were able to build a large fitness room that rivals a gym and supports our wellness program, and that's at our Regional Transportation Center. In addition, we now have contracts with other agencies to provide maintenance support to their vehicles, so that's a revenue generator for us.
Oh, great.
We're maintaining some Health and Human Service Agency vehicles. The State Department of Corrections, they're bringing their buses to us to have us maintain them. And even our local county prisoner transport buses are coming to us for maintenance and fueling. So,
and you're actually generating income then.
Yes, we are, and we're hoping to be able to hire more mechanics as we generate income. And, you know, I love the support that we're able to provide to the Health and Human Service Agencies, because many times they don't want to run equipment because it's too costly to maintain it. So we actually maintain their equipment and fuel their equipment at our facility for them.
Oh, well, it sounds like the center has paid off handsomely for RTD.
I think one other, I totally agree, Doug. It really has. And the one thing I didn't mention is that this was a huge morale builder among our employees. To be able to work in a state-of-the-art facility, I've actually had the mechanics come up to me and thank me. I don't have an office over there, but the mechanics have come and said, Donna, thank you. You know, thanks to you and the board for doing this. You did this for us. One of our board members also wanted us to make sure that we had good, healthy food on site for our employees. So Mike Rastusha, one of our board members, encouraged and innovated by having us put in a bistro on site. So we actually have a food service so that our employees could buy healthy food options while they're working there. So really been great for the employees, great for the board. We have local groups who want to come visit all the time to see this beautiful center.
What a great story, Donna. I want to thank you for taking the time to tell us about RTD's Regional Transportation Center in your role, which you've obviously played to the hilt as Chief Innovation Officer. Thanks for taking the time, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Doug. I hope I didn't talk too much. I know I get pretty passionate about this stuff once I get started. So
well, your passion is very obvious, and it's great.